All right, guys, bug in or bug out is sort of the question we're going to go over here. A lot of people have it in their heads what's going to happen, and there's more than one scenario. Your first thing is you need to identify your threat. Your threat could be natural, it could be a flood, your threat could be chemical. You know, Jeff out of California talks about the train wreck that they had down there, where there was a toxic cloud they were forced to evacuate. Living in the Pacific Northwest, we have volcanoes, so it could be an eruption. You're talking natural events, natural events that are going to force you to leave your home. This is not a tactical evacuation. You want to grab things that you may not be able to get back for. If you live near forested areas, you have the possibility of wildfires. I grew up in Oregon. There's quite a bit of wildfires in the area. And if you live just outside in a slightly rural area, wildfires are a big threat in the summer. So your bug out situation may need to include all records and documents, home photos, all sorts of stuff that may be damaged or lost in your home. And that goes the same with flooding in the winter in Washington. If you have risk of your home going out, you need to have all that documentation and ready to go. If your fear is a police state and being quarantined, then you're going to be bugging out, probably more of a tactical bug out, depending on how your perspective is on that. But it would be a very immediate, quick evacuation. You'd want to get out before checkpoints were set up. You would not want to hesitate leaving your greater area. And that goes into some of our other stuff. You've got your bio events, possibilities of all sorts of stuff. You need to understand your limit of travel. We're going to use Washington because that's my state as an instance. Sorry about that weird glare there. But you have Cascade Mountains that completely split the state in half. You have a low line. Let's see if we can get closer without that glare. You have a low line area here. And what happened this winter is the greater Seattle area here, and we got isolated. This winter brought enough rainstorm that it flooded out the plains area, which killed your main artery, which is I-5 that runs all the way down to California. It killed your main artery north to south for resources. Okay, that flooded the entire highway, completely shut down. Now, the perfect storm that happened was that all that moisture, it was still cold enough in the mountains to snow. Okay, and so what that did was that brought a huge amount of avalanches because we had wet snow, dry snow, frozen snow on top of all these layers, and we got avalanches. Avalanches on the North Highway, avalanches on the Central Highway, avalanches on the main artery east, which would be I-90, that would take you to New York if you wanted to. And so what happened was it was the perfect storm. Things couldn't, even if you got off the east side, you couldn't come over the mountains because of avalanches. You couldn't travel down here. So your only choices were, even Bellingham got quite a bit of snow. But then you're talking about, there's Canada up there in purple. That's a particular, serious situation, but you're not going anywhere when that happens. If you reverse that, if you take the natural selection out of that and you say that they are going to, police state Washington, guess what? They shut down 3 passes, I-5, maybe in Canada at the border, and you'd have the greater Seattle area on lockdown. Simple as that. These are 2-lane highways. I-90's got 4 lanes. Very easy for them to shut down those passes. Shut down I-5, and you'd be stuck with rural highways, back roads, lower mountain areas, if you had water passage, even then, if I can get that glare off there, you can see that to leave here, you have to go through the Strait of Juan de Fuca or up through the inlet, which is still in Canadian waters. Still, there's a chokehold. There's a narrowing of resources there. So, depending on your area, I want you to understand your area and understand your threat. So, let's reverse this. Instead of bugging out and leaving the area, let's bug in. Let's not say that there's a direct police threat to your state. There's not mandatory quarantines, but there is a huge, let's say, bio event, whether it is produced or happens. Let's use the H1N1 flu, for instance. I would say without a military presence, without a fear of being quarantined, it'd be a perfect scenario to bug in. And I kind of want to go into that. If you are the prepared of mind and you have your resources and you have your stockpiles, bless you if you have your own place in the middle of nowhere and you're going to be fine no matter what happens. There's many people that live in urban areas that are prepared of mind, that may not have the resources to leave that area. I'm one of those people. I do not own land, so all of my resources are potentially mobile. My stockpiles are within reason, but I'm able to take them where I go. If you have extreme long term, you probably own your own property. You're probably able to stockpile for long term. Now, if we're going to use this flu event as an example, anyone in survival knows the rule of threes. 3 minutes without air, you're going to die. 3 minutes or 3 hours to exposure, you're going to die. 3 days without water, you're going to die. And 3 weeks without food. I'll tell you right now, the food issue, 3 weeks is a long time. You may not die before 3 weeks, but I can guarantee you a week into it, you're going to be fatigued by simply moving around. You're not going to have any energy. You'll be hard to focus. By week 2, you will be probably bedridden, and another week you'll just wither away. So a lot of people are in this 3 weeks of food, and I'm not telling you that food is the highest priority in a survival situation. But what I am telling you is, in a bug-in situation, food is very important. If they have the highways shut down, if the stores don't work, you stay at home. You prepare, you keep a low profile, and we're going to go into other bug-in situations. But I'll tell you right now, after a week of not having food, a lot of people are going to die. People, if the water gets shut off, people are going to die within the first week, a considerable amount. If any of them make it to the second week of, say, maybe the food that is in their cupboards is completely wiped out, and maybe they were able to get some water through other means, but they don't have any access to water outside of their house. By that second week, you're looking at a lot of people dying. Week 3, if you're still going strong, you've already eliminated the people that didn't really prepare. You eliminated the people that sort of prepared. And by week 3, you're only left with the people that are really, just water storage alone, or having resources to get water at week 3. And at that point, you can start knowing that the streets, no one's going to be on there. And it'll give you a better opportunity to bug out to a safer location at that point. And again, this is a non-tactical bug out that we're talking about, just an actual, mass flu sort of scenario. But there are reasons that you would want to do both. And we'll get into that more as we go.